You know, I checked that this light was blue before I went live. It literally died, the battery in the speaker died between when I pressed go live and I actually went live. It's kind of ridiculous. See, now it's blue and you can hear me. Sorry about that. Thanks for everybody who told me you couldn't hear me. So the intro that I did that no one could hear is that, as you probably know, what we were scheduled to do today for our Tuesdays in the Shop Live is we were scheduled to do another round of Stump Andrea, which is our game where you submit fabrics that you're having trouble pairing other fabrics with for your quilt, and then Andrea puts together bundles and comes up with a bundle for you, and you try to stump her with the fabric that's the hardest that you can think of, right? By the way, if you have fabrics that you haven't submitted to us yet, please go ahead and submit them. If you go to our website, gothamquilts.com, and just search in the search bar for Stump Andrea, you'll see the page come up, and then you can just upload your image right there, and we might use them in a future edition. The reason it's me on camera right now and not Andrea is because Andrea's daughter Hazel, who is 5 years old, is quite sick with COVID right now. It is that reality that we've been living with for, I don't know, 16 years? Oh wait, no, only 2 years and a half. But it sure feels like longer than that at this point. Having to adapt things at the last minute is just the new reality for, I think, everybody, but small business owners in particular. So Andrea is at home with a sick kid. We wish her all the best. Yeah, poor baby is right, Nancy. She had so much trouble sleeping last night because she was so stuffy. And yeah, being home with a sick kid is no fun either for the mom. So, you know, we've gotten real good at pivoting over the course of this pandemic that seems to never be over. And one of the things we pivoted was, what's the video going to be for today? We needed something that I could do by myself. And so, oh, thank you, Sandra. I will tell her. So we decided that we were going to push ahead an announcement that we've been working on for a while. And the announcement is that we're going to start renting out time on our store Q16. So that's why I'm sitting in this very cozy spot with our baby, the Q16. For those of you who haven't seen videos in the past where we talked about this model, the Q16 is a sit-down long arm. So you can see more of it here. We have it set up in this table in the front of the store. The throat space, the 16 part is referring to the throat space. This has a 16-inch deep throat, and the table is nice and wide. So when you're quilting your quilt, there's a lot more support on the quilt. This quilt's just like your machines at home. If you do free motion on your home machine, you put your hands down and you drive, right? The benefit of a long arm like this is that you have so much more space, so much more surface area. So if you've quilted on your home machine and you felt like the weight of your quilt was really hard to manage and you were kind of like throwing it over your shoulder or trying to push it through the throat and it was a really small throat, a machine like this makes it a lot easier to do free motion because you have a lot of support, because you have this nice big table, and there's so much room behind here that even if you're quilting like a queen size quilt, it will fit. You won't have to like roll into the smallest tube you can think of and try to shove it in there and then fight with that. You have so much space that you can really, do whatever you can imagine. If you can imagine it and you can practice on a piece of paper first, when you sit down at the Q16, it's a lot easier to get that work done on your on your quilt. The other benefit of a machine like this over your home machine is that it goes really fast. So the maximum speed on a long arm like this one compared to a sit-down regular sewing machine, this machine can sew like twice as fast. So when you get real confident, you can just like zoom through a quilt. Many of us don't have room or maybe don't have the budget to have a machine like this at home, especially in New York where so many of us live in tiny apartments. I don't know if I've mentioned this week that I live in a studio. I live in a 400 square foot studio. So I don't have something like this at home, right? So that's what has pushed us into this idea of renting time on our Q16 sit down. We used to, for those of you who've been with us for years and years, we used to rent time on our old stand-up long arm way back in the days when we had, it was my personal Lenny that we had in the store, which was a mechanical only long arm that was pretty simple. And we used to train people and rent time so you could quilt your own quilts on our machine. And we discontinued that program in like 2019 because there just wasn't enough demand for that. And the reason was, it's not that we didn't have enough people who were interested in the concept. We had a ton of people who were interested in the concept. The problem was that the learning curve of getting confident driving a long arm that's a stand-up long arm and getting good enough that you actually would do your own quilts on it, it was too steep a learning curve. And what would consistently happen is people would come, they'd do a quilt, they'd do another quilt, and then they'd be like, by the time I get good enough at this, I need to practice so much. I need to like screw up a bunch of quilts. And what consistently kept happening is they'd come, they'd rent a couple of times, and then they would give up. Interestingly enough, most of those people converted into just dropping off their quilts and having us quilt them for them. I am very curious to find out if any of the people who originally signed up to quilt on the stand-up will come and quilt on the sit-down. So the reason we are rebooting this idea of a rental program on our machine is because the learning curve on a sit-down machine like this is almost nothing. If you do free motion on your home machine already, I don't care if you have a Bernina, a Pfaff, a Juki, whatever. If you are already doing free motion on your home machine, the learning curve to go from your home machine to this baby is almost nothing. You have to learn how to wind a bob, and you have to learn how to thread it. You have to learn what the buttons mean, but that's about it. The mechanics of it, the actual driving and doing the designs part, that's exactly the same as what you already know how to do on your home machine. So my hope is that this will be a more useful machine for us to rent out to our customers, especially in New York, since none of us have any space. If you have a bunch of tops that you've been waiting to quilt and you really want to quilt them yourself, and I totally get it. I am one of those people who wants to quilt my quilts myself. I do not want to send it out to a long armor. No fault to people who want to send them out to their long armors too. Like, you get to pick which part you want to do, and we offer everything, right? Justin, our long armor, will quilt your quilt for you if you don't want to do it yourself. But for those of you who do want to do it yourselves and you don't have the setup at home, or you just want to learn what it's like, maybe you're considering upgrading to a Q16 in the future, come rent time on ours, and we'll train you on your first rental day. In the morning when you get here, we will show you how to thread it, how to wind a bobbin, how the buttons work and everything. And then you're on your way. The way we're gonna run this is every day we're open, which currently it's Tuesday through Saturday. Any day we're open, you can come and rent. It's either gonna be me or Jen who is helping you out, or there's always somebody there if you get stuck, if you have tension issues, whatever. One of us is here to help you troubleshoot. And also, if it's your first rental day, then one of us is here to also train you, right? You book the dates on our website, and we already have it up and running on the website. I'm going to put a link in the description of this video once the video goes live. Sorry, not once it goes live, it's live now. Once I'm finished going live. All you have to do is you go on our website, you search for Q16 rental, and you can just book it online. You'll see an up-to-date live calendar of which days are available. And the idea is that you can come as early as 11, which is when we open, and you can stay as late as 6, which is when we close. And it's one fee for the whole day. So maybe you are gonna need the whole day, maybe you're not gonna quite need the whole day, it doesn't matter. No one else is renting after you, so it's not like you have to hurry up and be done by 4 or whatever it is. The whole day is yours, use it as you want. You want to bring more than one quilt, that's fine. Whatever works for you. It's a flat fee. One day is $160, and you get to pick whatever day works for you, anywhere from Tuesday through Saturday. And that's kind of it. It's a pretty simple concept. I am really interested in hearing people's feedback on whether this is something that you would use. The machine is a pleasure to work with. It is so quiet compared to so many other machines on the market. And even like our home machines, depending, well, I suppose if you're sewing at home on a Bernina, that's already pretty quiet. But when I used to sew on a Juki and I was doing free motion and I would like speed up to a certain point, that machine was like bang, 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 bang. And like, this is not like that at all. It'll go super fast. And yeah, obviously it makes a sound, but it's just a pleasant sound. It's not this like clanky metallic kind of sound. And it is such a pleasure to use this machine because Bernina has really thought about a hobby quilter, right? This is not a machine that only works if you really know what you're doing and you really know how to troubleshoot and you really know how to set your tension. Like most things that Bernina does, they are geared towards hobbyists, and you might not quilt every day. You might not quilt every week. You might not even quilt every month. And this machine is designed when you sit down, it just works. That's like the thing we always say about Berninas, they just work, right? This is why we sell Berninas. They're the best for a reason. And the reason is because they're easy to use, they're easy to learn. This machine in particular, for those of you who have some experience with long arms on the market, this machine has a needle threader. Like, it's the first long arm I've seen with a needle threader. It's such a silly detail, but also a lot of us wear glasses and can't really see. So it's really a nice detail. Maybe not necessary, but very nice to have. It has really good lighting. I've turned it off because the video is very hard to see when I have the lighting on. So I have the lighting disabled, which is a cool feature that the machine has also, that you can turn the light off. But the really nice lighting is a really nice to have when you're stitching, so you can really see what you're doing. It has speed control. It has stitch regulation. So if you're not perfect at free motion, let's be honest, how many of us are perfect at free motion? Almost no one, right? Maybe Angela Walters is perfect, but the rest of us are not. So stitch regulation is your friend. You set it up, you say how many stitches per inch you want, and the machine will calibrate. It will slow down and speed up in accordance to how quickly or slowly you're moving your hands. So, maybe you're doing a part that's really tricky, and so you're slowing down to really concentrate on that part. And then all of a sudden you're in a straight part and you zoom through that part. Those two sections will be stitched in the exact same way. So yeah, I cannot say enough good things about this machine. I am really looking forward to showing it to more of you. Rental programs are maybe limited in the sense that I know a lot of people are watching who might not be New Yorkers, and this is an offering that I can't really make virtual. There's no way to virtually rent a machine. Believe me, if I could think of how to do that, I would have figured it out by now, because I like to support everybody, whether you're local or not, right? But this one is really for the locals. If you have any questions, you can send us an email or leave a comment on this video and I will respond later. But yeah, we are open for business with our Q16 rental program, and I cannot wait to see some of you. It's funny because when you own a business like this, sometimes the thing that you're launching means you get to see your customers more often, and then it's like, oh, that's a bonus for me, right? Like having people come in more often, getting to see what they're working on. Like, our customers are so talented and make such gorgeous quilts. Having people bring their quilts in and quilt them here is fun for us, just so we can see what you're working on and what colors you picked. And sometimes we get ideas like, oh, I didn't know about putting that color with that color, or like that designer with that designer. We love seeing what everybody's working on, and this is yet another way we can see it while we provide what I hope will be a useful service for you. So again, if you missed the beginning of the video, the big news is that we are now renting time to quilt your own quilts on our store floor model Q16 from Bernina. Sandra says, another reason for me to finally learn how to free motion quilt. Oh yeah. And Sandra, I remember having a conversation with you about taking my class. I think we had this conversation. I hope that you'll let me teach you how to free motion, and then you can come rent time on the machine. So yeah, we are now renting time on our baby Q16. Maybe we should come up with a name for it instead of just Q16. Maybe we'll do a little contest to see who comes up with a good name for it and takes votes and stuff. The rental program is available every day we're open, which at the moment is Tuesday through Saturday. We are planning to expand our hours a little bit further after Labor Day. But things are just crazy right now. This pandemic is just like never ending. So we just have to keep playing it by ear, see how every week goes, and hope for the best. And we'll let you know if we do open back up on Mondays, which is the plan. Crossing fingers. So yeah, you can rent any day we're open, Tuesday through Saturday right now. To book time to rent for the day, you're going to go on our website and you're going to search for Q16 rental. And when you find that product, you'll click select a time and a calendar will pop up and you just select what day you want. It'll show you which days are available, which days are not available. And you just book it right online. Come on in. We open at 11. Bring your quilt, bring your thread. I maybe should have talked about thread. Good thing I said that out loud and reminded myself. You'll see that we have Aurifil on the machine right now. That's what we like the best as maybe slightly snobby quilters. I always piece with Aurifil, and I do enjoy it for quilting also because it has this nice matte look. If you want to quilt with something other than Aurifil, totally allowed. You bring whatever thread you want to use and we will work with you to fix the tension and wind the bobbin and all that kind of stuff. I would suggest when you're first starting not using something very plastically like metallic thread or monofilament thread, just because those are harder to get a nice stitch on. So when you're first learning and getting the feeling for the machine, oh, I'm sorry if you can hear that siren. There's a what's the word I'm looking for? Ambulance right there. This is the street. There's not much I can do with that problem, unfortunately. Anyway, I'm rambling now. We would love to see you. Let me know if you have any questions. Send us an email. And yeah, so today's video is nice and short. And if Andrea is back next week, we will do Stump Andrea next week. If Andrea is not back next week, we'll push it back one further week. And then I have to come up with something else to do a video for next week. So thanks for joining us this week. Short and sweet. Again, I'm sorry for the siren. I think this is a sign to just stop talking and rambling. Come rent this Q16. We'll see you soon. Bye.